Organic food, I think a lot of people were surprised to find organic food on that list, the list of 3,000 items that are now being recalled. There's a sense that there's a halo, that organic food is safer somehow. And, organic does not necessarily mean pathogen-free, although I think there was a time back before the federal government got involved, back before organics became a $20 billion business, that organics perhaps meant a little something about food safety. I'm not sure that's always the case now, although certainly there are some very fine organic products. Something that maybe if you ate something in a day or two would be fine, or if you didn't have cows that were eating corn and getting sick and developing this E. coli bacteria in their stomach, then they eliminate that. It runs onto the crops. We eat the crops. So you could argue that big agriculture has made food inherently unsafe in some ways. But then you also have this organic spinach that then gets put in a bag. The bag sits around for 10 or 12 days and gets shipped across the country. Lots of time for that E. coli to grow. So there's this overall system that builds in problems. I think there's some really good organic food inspectors. There's some people who are true believers who came out of the organic movement, who helped the organic laws get codified in 2002 is when we got our federal organic standards, and you started to see those little green and white labels on the packaging. There are a lot of people who are on the advisory board for those, a lot of good inspectors out there, people who approach it like a CSI episode, and they look to see if certain crops are coming up too soon. Maybe that's an indication that pesticides are being used. They do investigative work, and they really do assure that the food is going according to the labels.
So there's like a spinach SWAT team?
Yes, there is.
There really is?
They wear black, and they're in the fields. You can't really see them. But if I have something and I'm like, I want an organic seal, I pay a guy to come out, look at my fields, double check things, check my paperwork, and give me organic certification. Then I pay them every year to keep that up. So there's a certain incentive for the inspectors to make sure that that farm is certified. Do things, mess up? Well, in the case of the peanut factories, yeah, things got messed up.
The metal shavings thing really got to me. Hearing that some of the peanuts that had gone through various factories had metal shavings in them.
Metal shavings trouble you more than like bug parts?
Yeah, because, in many countries, bugs are a form of protein.
That's true.
We could get into
That's
that. Fried crickets
That's
in,
true.
West and
That's
Southern
true.
Africa.
Ant larva is, Mexican caviar in certain parts in certain regions of Mexico.
The big worm that you kind of eat as anyway.
Know where your food comes from. I personally like to shop as close to where I live as I can. It's not always possible for people. 5 ingredients or less on the label's a good thing. And all else fails, have a cheeseburger.
Kim, before we go, you said as a backup, the ultimate backup is eat a cheeseburger. If you really meant that, I want to avoid maybe a lot of email coming in. You want to clarify that a little bit?
Well, eat a cheeseburger, just make sure it's grass-fed beef and your tomatoes are local grown. Don't eat tomatoes in the winter. You've got to wait a couple months, but that would be my advice.
Glad we clarified that.